here we are. I'm sure you saw the title of this video, but today we are going to go over my top 10 palettes for fall. Now, I'm not someone who does makeup seasonally. I don't really believe in that, but I do know that some people like a fall color story. They do like seasonal makeup, things like that. So what I have here I have a top 10, but I do have a couple of honorable mentions. So we'll get into those first. Okay, we'll do a couple first and then a couple before number one. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So the first two that I think of as fall palettes but are just honorable mentions are ones that I have created out of my own single shadows. This is one that I created a couple weeks ago. Chances are, though, you're probably seeing the video of it a few days ago. Yeah, filming has been crazy. But this is a fall palette that I made. I really wanted something kind of grungy and kind of desaturated a little. I'm really into it. I love it. I love the style of this palette, like with the little mushrooms and stuff. But it's actually a Snow White palette, which I don't really think of that when I think of Snow White, but whatever. The other palette is another one that I designed. This is a video that I have up. It's kind of a role play of the Tip Top Palette Shop. It's an ASMR thing that I do sometimes. This is a Halloween palette that I made. I love it. I wanted something that kind of gave like kitschy old vibes. They're all lethal shades, but some of them are from like the Teresa's Dead collabs. I really like it. I feel like Teresa would be proud. Maybe. I don't know anything about anything. We will get into the top 10 here. So let's see. How do we want to do this? Let's start at number 10. So number 10 is the All Done Up palette by Blend Bunny. I will probably insert some of the footage that I got of these palettes when we had nice kind of daylight. This is them in just my normal, I would say studio lights, but it's where I do my makeup, which is a bathroom. So the reason why this palette's number 10 is I do feel like it's very much a fall color story, but I prefer more shimmers than mattes. These shimmers are really nice. Don't get me wrong. They're 5 really good shimmers, but I prefer more shimmers than mattes. So that's why this one had to be number 10. I highly recommend it. I'm not sure if it has magnetic pans these days. I know that Blend Bunny was shifting to that, but I don't know if they did that with some of their older palettes too. Either way, All Done Up is really good quality. It's just not my favorite. Okay, next up we have the Natasha Denona My Dream palette. This is one that definitely leans fall to me because of the bright orange, the blackest black. I feel like it's a really pretty fall winter color story. I don't have a great reason why. I do love all of the shimmers in this palette, and as you can see, it does lean a little more shimmer satin heavy than the others. But I really do love it. I think it's a gorgeous palette. One thing I will say though is Serenity and Babies are actually fairly similar once you put them on the eye. Same thing with Thrill and Spontaneous. They're actually kind of similar. So that's why I've knocked it down to number 9. Again, great quality. It's just not quite what I'm looking for. Speaking of great quality and not quite what I'm looking for, the Nomad Royal Europe is gorgeous. However, I don't reach for this one as much as I should because it's very deep. which I'm glad. I'm happy that they have a palette that's got, such rich tones like Hall of Mirrors, the Ballroom. It's got this beautiful row of multi-chromes down here. Very pretty, very shifty. But the palette's just a little too deep for me. I'd like to have something that I can kind of lighten up, something I can soften it with. But this palette just doesn't really have that. It's good if you're going for like a smoky eye. The packaging is amazing. I really love that it's like raised paper. It's really cool. Number 6, we're almost to the halfway point, is Diveroon Cosmetics The Moth and the Moon. I love this palette. I think it's amazing. I believe this is the binder in the shade here is kind of coming out, so it looks oily. But I will say this palette holds up great. It's gorgeous. One of my first videos, if I remember, I'll link it in the corner, is me reviewing the Diveroon Cosmetics palette and the flakies and things like that I got. This palette screams fall to me, mostly because of like the very pumpkin-y quad we have here, but also because like the deeper purple, the deeper blue, all of these shades just really scream fall to me. I truly, truly love it. I will say this is another one that I feel like I don't have a lot to like lighten up with. The shades are a little hard to mix. The mattes aren't super pigmented, but they're buildable. The shimmers are really where this shines, pun intended. I think this palette's gorgeous. If you can get it, definitely recommend. I know that they released a version that's just the shimmers, which I think is really cool. I think that's pretty smart because the shimmers are amazing. All right, so we are at the halfway point. Almost. Are we? Do I know how to count to 10? Oh, here we go. Yeah, we are at number 6. Wait. 10, 9, 8, 9, 6. Number 6. I can count to 10, guys. I promise. We have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Barely Basic. Now, this is a palette that I pined for months. Months. I wanted this palette. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It would be so unique in my collection. So why is it number 6? It's cooler toned than I thought it would be. I know in this light it does look pretty warm, but it's actually more cool toned than I thought it would be. And I can get down with cool tones on occasion, but it's not what I thought it would be. I thought it would be warmer. I do still love it. The quality's amazing. I enjoy using it every time I get to, but it's just not quite what I thought. So that's why it's at number 6. Still well loved, but just not used as much. All right. Who's ready to get mad? Raise your hand if you're ready to get mad. Next up, we have the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. Now, please put down your pitchforks if you're someone who says they hate this palette. I get you. I hear you. I see you. Your feelings are valid. But I'm going to say you're wrong. This palette is a gorgeous fall palette to me. You've got the warm colors, you've got some cool tones. There's a lot you can do with this palette, and I really love it for that. I feel like you could, just do a cool look with the like quad here. You could work with just like this column here, do something, all matte. The shade Yama is one of my very favorite shades of all time. It doesn't look like anything special, but it's kind of a peach with a green flip. It's very, very pretty. I love it for just a basic everyday look, and that's why this one is at number 5. Again, if you hate this palette, I'm deeply sorry. If you're someone who loves the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette and you never got it, pick up this one instead. It's got like a condensed Metropolis feel to it. If you compare them side by side, this is like a smaller Metropolis. It's got, the couple blues, the couple like red oranges, golds. It very is the Metropolis palette. Okay, you have to promise not to judge me because my Metropolis palette is very dirty. But look at these. Here's the Metropolis on top. Here's the Zendo on bottom. You cannot tell me that these are that different. You can't. They're arranged differently. Zendo kind of has different blues, but you cannot tell me they are that different. All right, on to number 4. So here we have one that's very discontinued. This is the Judy and Odin's Eye Red Dragon palette. I love this palette. It does say fall to me. I'm going to hold it like this so you don't see the mirror. It does say fall to me. It's got, the rich reds, orange. It has this beautiful multi-chrome called Luna. It's very, very pretty. This is one that I picked up when they first came out. They did a bundle for Black Friday, and I remember picking up the bundle, and I knew that I would love this palette immediately. This palette it really invokes those fall feelings of just like a cozy afternoon in, having tea, maybe going out on a walk, feeling the crunch of the leaves, all that good stuff. So, we're in the top 3 with some honorable mentions. In number 3, we have the Nomad Haunted Europe. I love this palette. Now, hear me out. Let me show you the inside of mine. Yes, let me remove the tissue paper. So, I hear you saying, this palette looks like you've never used it. That is true. I had this palette when it initially came out, and I used it a few times, but then they discontinued it. And I had a friend who wanted it really, really badly, so I let them have it. But it became one of those palettes that I regretted decluttering. So I think last year for Black Friday, they had it available, and I just picked it up. I was tired of living without it. I picked it up. The only reason this one isn't higher is because these 2 gold shades are fairly similar. This one does pull a little more orange, and this one pulls a little more yellow. Also, I do wish there was a lighter purple shimmer in here, but that's not a deal breaker. I do think this palette is gorgeous. I think it works as, 2 9-pan palettes. If you cover up like one half, it's a beautiful, like cool tone. If you cover up the other half, it's like a nice pumpkin palette. I think there's a lot you can do with it, and I actually plan on doing a palette bingo with this palette. I think that'd be a fun challenge. So I will probably do that in the coming weeks. All right, so let's get to our top 2, and we'll talk about some honorable mentions before we get to number 1. So let's see, top 2. Number 2, we have the Bella Beauté Bar, or Bella Beauty Bar, however you want to say it. We have the Basic Witch. This palette has such a chokehold on me. It has since it came out. It's had a chokehold, and I regret nothing. I purchased this palette and some of their single shades, I believe last year. They did some kind of sale, and I purchased it, and I love it. I I regret nothing. I've talked about this palette in other videos that it feels like a very springtime palette to me, just based on the mattes, the shimmers. Again, I'm not someone who uses makeup seasonally, but I do think that this gives like kind of a cursed carnival witch vibe, which, is what they're going for. But also, with like this green and the pinks and all that, it does also give springtime to me. So it's at number 2. I will say the shade Resting Witch Face is my very favorite, just one and done eyeshadow. It's a beautiful multi-chrome. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. Yeah, you can kind of see the shift. It's like purple, gold, kind of has like a blue. Very, very pretty. So that's the number 2 palette. Now, let's talk about some of our honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1, we have the Nomad Fuji 5 Lakes. The only reason why this one's an honorable mention is because I honestly haven't used it yet. I know. I don't know if you can hear my cat. I have not used this palette yet. I think it's gorgeous. If this was only based on color story, it would probably be in the top 10. But as I haven't used it, I feel like it was unfair to rank it. Now, I purchased this palette back in their Black Friday sale, but what I did was I saved it until fall, which was really hard to do. I had to just kind of keep it tucked away, save it for later. But I am so excited to dig my little paws into it. Also, as an honorable mention, we have the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. This one I had as one of the top 10s, but it just didn't make the cut. I think maybe because the shade Camu Camu doesn't really feel very fall to me. The rest of it kind of does. I think it's a gorgeous palette and I love it. It's probably one of my favorite Natasha Denona palettes. I think I ranked it. Ooh, I can't remember if it was in my Natasha Denona ranking. But I do really love this palette. I think it's gorgeous. If you have it, bust it out. Show me your looks. As far as number 1, we have the Adept Cimmerian Sunset. This is a Star Trek themed palette, I believe. Yeah, I believe it is. So here is the inside. As you can see, mine's a little messy. I actually haven't used this palette very much, but I also have been saving it for fall. So I'm really excited. I'm actually planning to use it today. I'm going out tonight, so I'm going to use this palette as a look. I'm very, very excited. I love this palette because it's shimmer heavy. I love more shimmers than mattes, and as you can see, it's a 15-pan palette, but only 5 of them are mattes. The rest are all shimmers, and these shifts are just out of control, especially this shade Tal Shiar, I believe is how you say it. Gorgeous holochrome. And yeah, it makes me happy to just look at it. And that's why it's my number 1 fall palette. Now, I will say, I do feel like this palette is pretty expensive. However, I 1,000,000% feel like it's worth the cost. It's so gorgeous. It's so shimmery, shiny, and everything about it just makes me so happy. It doesn't have any of those like cream to powder shades, but I will say Adept shimmers are fairly soft. So if you have issues with creasing, definitely go in light. But it's gorgeous. And that's why it's my number 1 fall palette. So there you have it, guys. 10, more than 10 great fall palettes for you. I hope wherever you are, you're having a wonderful day or evening or whatever time it is. I hope you take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye.